Hi, and welcome to this week's show where we're going into money blocks and your personality wealth code. And this is information that very few people know about. And just to quickly put this in context, I've spent over 25 years helping business owners build themselves out of their business. And that's one of the main things that I do for a living. Work closely with these business owners and entrepreneurs, and we help them scale out, build their teams up, and bring their businesses to the point where they're earning passive income or reasonably passive income or selling their business. I've also spent a lot of time training with investors and a company down in Melbourne who are a fantastic company, by the way, called Results Property Mentoring. I work closely with them and their clients and mentoring their clients around the psychology of wealth creation. So I think you're going to find this very interesting because, as I said, very few people know about this information. See, this thing here is super important. And when I say this thing here, I'm talking about your personal consciousness. And your personal consciousness is, well, it's vast. It's actually quite unknowable. But that's not what we're talking about today. Your personal consciousness, for most people, your sense of personal consciousness is experienced through your thinking, your intellect, through the emotions that you feel, and that's your sense of identity, your personal consciousness. Now, to dig into the main crux of the conversation today, what you'll observe is that out in the world, there is a lot of really good quality technical and strategic information on wealth creation. Like, it's super easy to get really good quality courses on how to systemize a business, build your team, and get your business running without you. And we supply that information to our clients as well. But it only goes so far because most people can't pull that off. And you would have seen this. You might have experienced it yourself. You might have great intellectual knowledge through courses and training, but for some reason or other, unbeknownst to you, you're not achieving what you really want to achieve. And this is the same with the investors that I work with. The investors, through Results Property Mentoring, a fantastic company again, they get really, really fantastic technical information on how to invest. Once again, so many of their members or clients will struggle because of their personal consciousness. And, when we go to school, we're not taught about our personal consciousness. We're not taught about emotional intelligence. We're not taught about our intelligences. Okay, so we have multiple intelligences. We have multiple ways of knowing. Well, you do when you start evolving, right? Most people are so blocked. They are trying to navigate this wealth creation or investment world through their intellect alone. So in today's show, I sort of want to dig into a little bit about one's personal consciousness, one's wealth psychology or anti-wealth psychology, and shed some light on this very interesting topic. So, the first thing, if you're watching this, you think you know yourself and you don't. And don't worry about that. Very few human beings do know who and what they really are, because you didn't go to school and learn anything about inner work, about analyzing your personality, about analyzing your belief structures. No one taught you how to deal with your emotions. And then we can even go beyond the personality. Who are you beyond the personality? And that's when things get very interesting, right? Super interesting. But that's, again, not what we're talking about today. So intellectual knowledge is one thing. And then we start to sort of come down the tree. And trees are a great metaphor for this, because a tree has roots. And I just said you don't know yourself. You just know a small portion of yourself. Now, the roots of a tree if we use this metaphor, I liken the roots to a tree to belief systems. So you have core belief systems, and those core belief systems exist outside of your awareness in the unconscious or subconscious. We're just going to use either of those two words. And by the way, they are two different spaces and places, but let's just say they're outside of your awareness. And these core belief systems control your behaviors. But you don't see it, you don't know it. So you've got, for the most part, most people have belief systems that are unsupportive of high quality wealth creation. And there's a reason for that. Most people have grown up in the working, middle, and professional classes and have been trained by their parents and by the education system to have what we call poverty type belief systems. Yes, that's correct. Even people that are in the professional classes have what we'd consider poverty-like belief systems. So just to give you an example of this, and most of you would have never have thought of this, I don't think. Think about your schooling system. Now, your schooling system, it really kicked into gear if we go back into history when we moved from the agricultural stage of life to the industrial stage of life. And people poured in from the countrysides and started going to cities. And at that point in time, you had the clergy were all powerful, the bureaucrats, always all powerful, potentially not to be trusted. And the merchant classes and the industrialists. And they knew that they needed to educate the farm folk, the normal folk, to run their factories, to sell things on their behalf. And it's always important to understand that rules come from top down, and rules are always designed to serve those that create the rules. Interesting that when we see what's happening in the world at this point in time. I don't think one bureaucrat's really suffered in any sort of way worldwide through what's going on. And if you want, great, tell your kids to get into government, because over the next 10, 15 years, they're going to go nuts. Anyway, that's beside the point. So as the everyone flooded in from the countryside and started the industrial age, they had to be trained up, as I said, to work in the factories and to sell things. And this is a very, very powerful time in history. And part of that was the clergy, as I said, the church and state were mixed and intertwined. And even with the state was a sense of conditioning. So within the clergy, a whole bunch of biblical sayings also aided what we're about to go into, and that is the subconscious or unconscious wealth programming that's unsupportive of good quality wealth creation. So here we are. I just wanted to look at two things first of all. The first one is when we go to school, the underlying assumption that's never communicated is that you and myself, we are not powerful wealth creators. Okay, that's the underlying assumption. Because you have to go to school to learn a whole bunch of things so that you can trade that knowledge or that information for someone with more power than you, okay? And they're going to pay you for that. So at that point in time, we really fall into being trained up by our schooling systems in a disempowered system to trade time for money. Now, again, if you're working for someone and you love what you do, fantastic. But typically that is not the way to wealth creation. And in some ways there's slavery involved with that. we look at wealth creation is created through scalable, leveraged business opportunities and scalable, leveraged investment opportunities, where we end up with assets that are working for us. And a really good way to understand this is a really good wealth creator is a controller of assets that produce income. Okay, so I just come back to what I said before about the schooling system. The schooling system, wasn't saying, hey, we're going to teach you to be an entrepreneur and an investor and a controller of resources. The schooling systems, as I said before, were taught to set you up to be people that worked in the resources that the super wealthy run. Okay, you can probably get that. That's why I said these rules for schooling systems are created top down. Coming back to the clergy, we go to the clergy, and it's easier for a rich man to get through the eye of a needle than it is to get into heaven. Okay, so you start to see that. And remember, the clergy were extremely wealthy. The Catholic Church is one of the wealthiest, if not the wealthiest organization in the world. But they taught people that poverty was good, that there's something noble and wonderful about poverty, and that wealth itself was terrible and horrible and evil. And so look at this, the ruling classes, as we shifted from the ag period into the industrial period, the ruling classes of clergy, of the manufacturers, the bureaucrats of the time, the merchants of the time, ensuring that there's a workforce to work in these resources that they control. So we can extrapolate with that. I'm going to get really grounded in a moment, just bring it to work I do with my clients. So most people are carrying around this conditioning, unbeknownst to them, outside of their awareness, in their unconscious. And it doesn't matter how much intellectual knowledge they get, the unconscious beliefs rule what you get. Now, how do they rule what you get? Well, first of all, they control behaviors, which we'll look at in a second. And secondly, they also have an attraction ability. Okay, so, you would have heard this before. I know it sounds quite woo-woo, but regardless, I've just worked with thousands of people. I see that it's true. We tend to get what we believe. I have a model for that. Again, I won't be sharing that in this conversation. I run a program called Vortex Rebirth, and it's about pulling out of the matrix. And it's about understanding how we exist in a quantum field and how we are part of that. We are receivers and transmitters into that. What we put out, we tend to attract towards us. I talk about those types of things in Vortex Rebirth, and that'll be up on my website in the next little while. If you want to get access to that, by the way, and it's more of a metaphysical type training, just put it down in the comments below, and I will make sure that you know about it. Okay, so let me give you some examples of how this might show up. But before that, I'm just going to quickly pay some bills.
Break out of ruts, plateaus, and problems fast. Regardless of your role or position in life, business owner, investor, parent, employee, in a relationship, are you really comfortable with where you are? Are you being true to yourself and getting what you want? Feeling stuck in a rut? Challenged? Time for a change? Are you living your greatest, most fulfilling life? Self-actualizing your strengths and gifts? Problems to solve? If you'd like some help, Perry is here with his rare wizard-like people reading and facilitation skills. Perry can read you on multiple levels in seconds and immediately see what is undermining you, the best path forward for you, and reveal solutions to present challenges, saving you time and money and getting you back on track fast. When you work with normal coaches, business coaches and consultants, or even highly trained psychology professionals, it takes them many sessions just to get to know you enough to provide solutions. With Perry, it takes minutes. Book a free chat with Perry to see how he can help you by going to www.perrymardon.com.
Okay, so to start to get a sense of maybe what your subconscious blocks are, and obviously you can see in that promotion that I just displayed, come and work with me if you want to understand any of these things. It's one of my core skill sets of reading a person and their patterns really quickly. When you work with other coaches, seriously, they're just coaching blind. Anyway, to understand your blocks, you have to develop a relationship with your body, and specifically a relationship with your body in regards to emotions and feelings. Why? Okay, because your body is the repository or the manifestation of your unconscious belief systems and forces. So you can start to diagnose what is happening on a subconscious or an unconscious level by working through your body. So as an example, selling is, or if you're a business person, or if you want to make good money, to be honest, to be a really good salesperson is super important. And just to understand, I have a model. This is an unconscious model, meaning it is just a given to me. It means that all my cells, it means everything in me buys this model, this belief system I'm about to share with you. And that is this, that sales is an act of love. It is an act of love. Okay, so why? Well, I'm here to help and serve people, and I have programs and ways of helping people. And so it would be almost an evil act if I didn't sell. So if I know someone's got a problem that I can help solve, then out of love, you would go and solve that. And if I can't, I would pass them on to someone else that could assist them and help them. But for the most part, most people have a very, very problematic subconscious or unconscious relationship with sales. And that is because, again, because of core messaging, right? If you just go watch 60 Minutes, The Current Affair, or go and watch any cartoon, and what you'll see is this archetypal symbolism displayed. And in some ways it can be truthful for certain types, but that salespeople are corrupt, would say anything to get the sale, they're evil, they're sneaky. You know, you grew up hearing people talk about dirty salespeople, real estate agents. I've met some of them too. Just terrible, right? Honestly, it's such an easy thing to sell through honesty. It is an easier thing to do, to sell through honesty. But yes, there are these manipulative salespeople. So these are sort of things that are pushed through in media messaging and cartoons. Think about The Simpsons. In The Simpsons, the sales guy always had this little ding, and a little light would shine as he lied to get the sale. So all this sits on the subconscious and unconscious level. And so, again, by coming into the body, you know, rationally you can learn about how to sell. It's pretty simple. Same as I said before, really easy to learn how to build a business, really easy to learn how to invest with the intellectual knowledge and know-how, but it's these belief systems that start to undermine. So coming to the body, and you're selling to someone, you might start to observe how your body feels. And if your body starts to feel a bit weird, you feel a bit withdrawn, you feel a bit low energy, you feel a bit sick in your stomach, you feel a bit nauseous, well, that would be a really good time to go, there's something happening on a subconscious or unconscious level here. Don't know what it is yet. By the way, this starts into good inner work. I don't know what it is yet, but I can tell because I can feel my body contracting, okay? Or I can feel little butterflies or weird sensations, or I can feel I want to withdraw from this person. So if you're working with that effectively, then you're going to go inside and go, well, why do I feel uncomfortable? Now, when you first ask yourself that, unless you're someone like me who's spent many, many years dialoguing with the different parts of my consciousness, and so therefore, just even on a brain level, I've developed the neural pathways to find out what's happening on the unconscious level. Because if I ask a part of me a question, it will tell me. But I've built the pathways to do that. And that's one of the things I do with my clients. I help them diagnose what's happening internally through helping build connection into the body. So as an example, that person, again, in that sales process where they can feel these uncomfortable feelings, maybe they can't do it there and then. When you become more masterful of yourself, you can, by the way, you can do this very, very quickly. But that person might have to go home and replay in their mind, right? Or what happened when I was in that sales process. And they'll trigger the memory, and they'll trigger how they felt sick, and they'd go into sickness. Why did I feel sick? And then they'd meet this part of them, because our personality is made up of multiple parts, by the way, that hold these belief systems. Again, as I said, you probably don't know yourself. Most people don't. When you do, you can sit back from your personality and you can see all the ways and the games it plays in this world. And you can see the belief system associated with the different personas that make up your personality. I'm not my personality. You know, the personality is just what shows up in me and been programmed. And one of the things that we learn to do is undo the programming of our personality over time, and also to let the personality not be the driver of our consciousness. That's a good place to get to. Anyway, that's for another time. Vortex rebirth, I told you about that. Do you want to know about that? It's more metaphysical work that we do. Just put a comment down below and I'll make sure you get the information. It's not on my website yet. We do a training once a week. So into the body, and the squeamish feeling. I just feel really uncomfortable selling. Why? I feel like I mightn't be liked. I mightn't be liked. Why wouldn't I be liked? Because people don't like salespeople. Okay, and in doing that, you go, oh, wow, people don't like salespeople. That's a belief system that's been running me. And if you took that even deeper, you'd go, what that means is I don't like salespeople, because anything that's projected out there, you've just put on yourself. So in that way, you can start to see some of these unconscious beliefs. Another way that you might do that, just think about money itself and your relationship with money. Just sit and feel into it. Get out of your head. Think about money. What feelings start to arise in the body? Oh, that's interesting. You might feel excitement. And if you feel excitement, that might be a great sign. Why do you feel excitement? Oh, well, I just love the game of money. Well, that might show that you've got a really good quality belief system driving you. Or you might feel angry. Oh, why am I angry? I'm angry that I don't have enough. Or then how long have I felt like I haven't had enough? Oh, for years. And then you can see that you've got a scarcity belief system running you. And as I said before, as an example, that scarcity belief would drive grasping behavior as an investor or as an entrepreneur. Desperate behavior, seeking out that thing, shiny light chasing as an example, trying to get away from the scarcity. That would also manifest, as I said before, we exist in a quantum, and what we put out tends to come back to us. And by the way, I used to work years ago with those people that would talk about the law of attraction. They used to sell the most palatable version of it. Right? It's easy to sell to human egos. Human egos, just ridiculous. Your whole being, this is why you have to do the unconscious work, your whole being has to resonate with the belief system to bring it towards you. It's just not what you think consciously. When your unconscious elements, your subconscious, all agree with what it is you want, it will just come towards you, pull it towards you, as well as it controlling behaviors. So really important to start doing that work and really understanding those unconscious belief structures. And this is super important for everything. You want to do it with relationships. You want to do it with everything. And I'm probably going to be sharing a bit more about this subject. I'll probably end up doing a bit of a training on it over the next little while. And again, if you're interested in that training, just let me know in the comments below and I'll keep you in the loop about it. If you're interested in working with your unconscious money box. Okay, I wanted to go into the next part of today before we wrap it up. And I talked about your personality code. I really love what I'm about to share with you. So one of the things that you want to do, again, is just really clean up all your belief systems, your unconscious belief systems, which means you've got to surface them. And again, come and work with me if you want some assistance with that. You can come and have a chat with me, right? First of all, see if we're a good fit. You'll see a link down below. So once you clean up those belief systems, the other element that you really want to be doing is working in your gift zone, working in your joy zone. And again, what a travesty or a tragedy of an education system, and what a travesty and a tragedy of a sick society. Okay, we live in a sick society, mostly run by greed, a desire for status and power, and no connection to love. Just sick. Okay, because at school should teach what I'm about to share with you. So again, as I said before, from that top-down perspective, what you're taught is, you're disempowered, you're powerless, you need to get some skills so you can trade those skills to someone that's way more powerful than you, and you can get an hourly rate for that, right? You're not trained to build resources and assets that make money. You're trained to be a cog in the system of those that are building those resources. They're the ones that get the freedom and wealth. We talked about that before. But also, secondly, as you're trained up based on fear to be a resource in someone else's money-making system, you're also not taught that you yourself are your own wealth code. I'll say that again. You yourself are your own wealth code. Okay, what do I mean by that? Okay, so I'll just talk about me for a second. I was born with just instinctive, natural abilities. I'll say that again. I was born with instinctive, natural abilities. And there's some areas I'm just hopeless at, just hopeless at, right? And same with you. You were born with these natural, instinctive abilities. But no one at your school system said, hey, we really want you to understand and leverage your natural, instinctive abilities. No one did that. Again, sick society, sick education system. Just incredible. Anyway, so one of the things that was natural for me was to go and spend hours in the water. My parents used to joke that I was a fish. My parents used to joke that I could sell snow to Eskimos. Or they used to joke that I should be a lawyer because I could argue with anyone about anything. And these are all part of my natural, instinctive talents. When I went to school, no one at school told me that they were my natural talents, right? Just ridiculous. Also, I was born with wounds and conditioning that I had to overcome. Okay, that's typically how this works. You're born with these natural gifts and talents, and you're born with wounds and belief systems that you have to overcome to be able to self-actualize. And this is the path of self-actualization. So, as an example, for me to do this right now, this is totally aligned with me. I don't feel weird about getting and communicating in this way. I feel really natural doing this. There are some of you watching this, and you would feel unnatural doing this. You would feel, doesn't matter how many unconscious blocks you had, it's just not your zone. It's just not your thing. Some of you watching this might like working with wood, and that was your natural propensity, that your natural instinctive talent. And so when we access these natural instinctive talents, then the next question is, are you going to back them? And again, remember, you will be brought up for the most part in a society that doesn't honor this about you. So you have to honor it about you first. And then you start basing your entire work role around that natural instinctive talent. And then it just becomes natural and easy. And then the other thing with this is you're not working. You're just doing what you're designed to do. So you're also on mission and purpose when you do what you're designed to do. I can hear my son down there in the side office. He's a comedian. He creates comedy shows and creates jewelry. And he has a couple of businesses on the side that back off his comedy work and his jewelry work. That's his natural instinctive zone. I'm not a comedian. Okay, I can make some jokes, but no, he's a natural comedian. Check him out if you want on Semi Keen on Instagram. So again, when you're working your natural instinctive zones, it's just a whole better way. You're not working, you're playing. And people gravitate towards that because your energy stays high. You're natural, you're giving, you're sharing from what you are. And that is your wealth creation code. Now, I'm about to wrap this up. I'm going to just share a system that we use. It's really inexpensive that our clients access that enable them to understand what their natural wealth acceleration instinctive personality code is. Check it out. And again, if you like this, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them below. And let me know if you are interested in more trainings on unconscious blocks around money and wealth creation. And we will see you next time.
Business owners, have you ever seen a horse try to fly or a fish walk? Of course not. But you have seen thousands of entrepreneurs and investors working in roles they were not designed for by nature. That's called being out of alignment. It's stressful, hard work, and not profitable. Introducing the Entrepreneur's Strength Identifier, an instant game changer for you and your business. The Entrepreneur's Strength Identifier reveals the entrepreneurial talents, strengths, and gifts that you already possess, that are imprinted on your DNA, and that you must leverage to hit your highest profit potential with joy, inspiration, and ease. This brings you into alignment with your most natural instinctive wealth creation path, the one you must leverage and scale for greater profit and freedom. Find out more at perrymardon.com. Look for the Entrepreneur's Strength Identifier.